Hey everyone, so Ridley Scott sat down with The Hollywood Reporter for a new interview discussing Alien and Blade Runner, and we're going to take a look at his comments because they are quite interesting if you take into account Prometheus and this year's Alien Covenant. So the interviewer was asking him why did he make the decision to direct Covenant over Blade Runner 2049, and Ridley had this to say. It was a crossfire of too much business. I'm doing a lot of TV and a lot of films. There's 6 films going out this year, and one of them, I figured it was a good piece of business to follow through on Prometheus, which from ground zero had good liftoff, so he went to Covenant to perpetuate the idea and re-evolve the universe of the Alien. But I think the beast has almost run out, personally. You've got to come in with something else, you've got to replace that. And so I was right. I was ahead of the game. I had to make a choice, and Denny was a terrific choice. Now his last comment was of course in regards to Blade Runner 2049, giving the directing job to Denis Villeneuve instead of directing it himself, which was the rumor for a while. Now his comments regarding the beast running out and pretty much being done with, he made some similar comments I believe about a month ago when he spoke about the new direction that he would take the Alien Covenant sequel in, which was to expand on AIs and David and androids and the world that the android would make if he finds himself on a new planet, rather than the alien creatures. So it's obvious that he's kind of bored with the alien now, and he doesn't really want to include it in his future films, and that it had been long rumored that the only reason that the xenomorph or xenomorph-like creatures, in regards to the neomorph or things like that, the only reason they were put into Covenant was because it was an order from the studio, that they wanted more xenomorphs and more creatures in there, because apparently people complained about the lack of them in Prometheus, which I really didn't see. So it is kind of weird that he's making these comments now, because even when he spoke about the new direction for the Covenant sequel, he talked about Covenant kind of highly. He was like, yeah, you know, it did well, we made money on it again, we're going to be doing something again with it, another sequel, or possibly 2 more sequels, who knows, all kind of leading into the back end of the original Alien film, because Ridley's kind of ideas and plans for these prequel movies has changed so many times over the past 7 years or so when they first came to be. When they were first developing Prometheus, they were trying to explore who was the guy in the chair in the derelict ship and how all the eggs got there, and why would some sort of alien species be carrying weapons like this? Who would make the monsters? That was kind of their original intent. It seemed more so to explore the space jockeys themselves rather than the xenomorphs. I always figured that the xenomorph was just kind of like a weapon or a tool that the jockeys had found or used or utilized or whatever have you. And then when you got to Covenant and more of the press started ramping up for that, he says that this was going to start up a whole new trilogy exploring the origins of the xenomorph, and that Alien Covenant was really the origin film for the beast itself, and that everything was leading back to Ripley standing on the bridge of the Nostromo in the first Alien film. So a lot of different things are happening here. Obviously Ridley has been known to kind of go off on tangents and forget what he's talking about and kind of contradict himself in different interviews, and it certainly seems like that's happening again. The only thing that I kind of feel bad about is that he speaks that the beast is done, you know, the xenomorph isn't scary anymore, you can't utilize it, and I feel like he's wrong in that regard. I think that you can. I mean, Alien Isolation definitely showed that you can still, and I think that in the right hands, do something new with it, do something different, not just sort of rehash what we saw at the end of the original Alien film. Part of the problem with the end of Covenant, you really feel like that third act was rushed. You know, they just threw in the aliens and things started happening, but it was all familiar, it wasn't things that were new. And if they had given Neil Blomkamp the chance to do something with his proposed Aliens sequel that would have rewritten 3 and 4 and kind of done something different, a send-off to Ripley, I think you could have gotten something new there. I'm not saying that Neil Blomkamp is like a fantastic director or anything, but it is kind of a shame that you have someone like Ridley who's kind of using the alien and kind of taking it for granted, where you had someone like Neil Blomkamp who really wanted to use the alien, and you could tell that he was going to treat it in a fashion that was honoring what had come before it. So leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Do you guys think that the beast is done? Do you think that the alien is no longer viable? Is it no longer scary? Can it be utilized now again? Can new things be done with it? Or is it just simply something that needs to be cast aside and come up with something else? Drop all your thoughts down in the comments below, and for more updates on the Alien and Predator universe, be sure to subscribe to Hybrid Network. Thanks again for checking out this video. If you want to get even more updates from us, check out our social media platforms, our website for the latest news and editorials, and if you want to see our content improve, donate to us on Patreon for exclusive rewards.